Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to lecture 10 of the complete Python programming course. This will be the 10th lecture. I am Rityunjay Thakur and we are currently learning Python, which is a very popular programming language. In today's world, one of the most widely used language is Python. It is used everywhere currently. Like after the AI boom, most of the companies that are hiring are like hiring Python programmers because most of them are building some AI projects, so they need Python programmers. So we are learning Python. So a lot of you have like just started their programming journey. So this is your first programming language, and a lot of you have already learned some other programming language, and this is not your first, but still is very important for you to learn watch all the videos that I have already uploaded. So this is the 10th lecture. It is a very important lecture. Okay, it it is going to be very interesting, and as well as it is the most important lecture, I would say, because in this lecture we are learning object oriented programming, which is also known as oops. Okay, so this will be very interesting. Okay, so before starting this lecture, I want you all to like watch all the earlier lectures, like before watching them, like if you have not watched them, so it won't be like you won't be able to understand a lot of things that I will be teaching you today. But if you are watching this for revision, it is well and good, you can watch it without any reservations. Okay, without any delay, let us just start our lecture. Okay, so in this lecture, we are learning object oriented programming. Okay, so in this object oriented programming, we will be learning about, in this lecture, we will be learning about OOPS, like which is object oriented programming. We will understand what are the classes. There are some classes, like things just like classes in this object oriented programming, and there are objects. Okay, so we will be learning about them. So what are these things? Then we will learn about like how do we create classes, then and then we will also be creating some objects as well. Okay, then we will be discussing about how do we use methods and understand the self keyword, like what is the use of self keyword and why do we use it self keyword. So these will be the things that we will be discussing. Okay, so now, without any delay, let us just move on to the next slide, which is why do we need oops? Okay, so imagine you are creating something. Suppose you have a student record, and student in the student record, you will have to store name, age, marks, and roll number. So if there is only one student, it is easier for you to store it in the separate variables. Okay, it's like student name, age, marks, and roll number. If there is only one student, but suppose in the real world scenario, there is usually like a lot of students in a school itself. There are like 1,000 students. Okay, so it will be very inconvenient for the for us to store them, like student name one and student age one, and in this manner it will we will have to create thousand, like there are four attributes, the four things that we are storing, like name, age, marks, and roll number. So we will have to create 4,000 different variables. So okay, this will be very inconvenient for us. And so what we do without oops, it is going to be very inefficient. Our code will be very big and it won't be as efficient, and we won't be able to extract the data when we need it in a very fast and efficient manner. Okay, so even the data that we will be storing we will not be able to manage it properly. Okay, so with the help of oops, it will solve our problem. Okay, so what is object oriented programming? Object oriented programming is a programming paradigm that organizes code using objects. Okay, so in objects there are two things, like data, its data, and its behavior. So data are the like qualities, you can say, that a person have. Suppose there is a car. Okay, so what are the qualities of a car? That it is red, that it is has 6 seats. Suppose 6-seater car, it has 4 wheels. These are some of the attributes. and there's one thing called behavior of method. So how does the car behaves? Suppose like the car is very fast, if I do press this button, the window will come down. Like these are some of the methods. Okay, instead of writing everything separately, we group related information together in a class. Okay, so how do we do that? We use the concept of oops, which is a programming paradigm. Okay, so here are some real life examples. Here like there are two classes here, which is car. Car is also a class here, because car is something as a car is an umbrella term. Okay, why? Because in this car term there can be a different brands like Mercedes, BMW, and all, like Tata and all. There's different types of brands. Okay, and all those brands have different models of their cars. Like they release it every year mostly, like, but all of them has different qualities. Okay, these qualities here are referred to as attributes. Okay, so first attribute is color. Like all the cars must have a color. Okay, there's nothing like, there's no colorless car. Okay, so there's no transparent car. So there are, all the cars must have a color. Then all the cars always have a brand. Okay, there's specific brand that releases a specific model of a car. So all the like cars that we see in our daily life everywhere have a different brand. Okay, and all of them has a top speed. Like suppose like the premium cars, like the sports car, suppose they have like their top speed is very much higher as compared to a normal car that we see around us. Okay, in the same way they have different methods. Okay, there's some like something like start, like when we like put like press the accelerate, okay, then it sorry, when we insert our key inside the car, or then it starts. Okay, this is a method. It has a stop. When we press the brake, the car stops. Then there is this accelerate thing. When we want to accelerate the car, it speeds increases. Okay, these are some of the methods of the car, or behaviors of the car. Okay, when we do this, there's something that changes in the car, and there can be change in the speed, there can be anything. Okay, so these are some of the examples. The other example is student. We have discussed about this. Here are some of the attributes. Okay, the attributes are name. Every student in this world has a name. Okay, then there's a roll number. When we go to our school, it is very inconvenient for the school, but like school, to use name as a name for identifying purpose. Why? Like because multiple students can have same name. So what we do, we use roll numbers. So every student has a roll number. Okay, then every student has some specific mark. It can be higher, lower, doesn't matter, but every student has scored some marks. Okay, so every student has a name, every student has a roll number, every student has marks. Okay, then there's methods. Okay, behavior of every student. So every student studies in the class, every student attend class, and every student displays details. Like every student has some details, like his or her address and all. These are some of the things that is associated with every student. Okay, so the although the like this can differ, like some students study very hard, some student does not. These things can differ, but all of them has these methods. Okay, now let us move on to the next slide. What is a class? Class is a blueprint or a template used to create an object. Okay, so this is like a skeleton. Okay, what is something like, let us take an example of, here it is example of a house blueprint. Okay, so we have created a blueprint of a house. So every house like has some every house follows this blueprint. What is this blueprint contain? What does this blueprint have? It has a door. Every house has a door. Every house has a window. Every house has a roof. Every house has walls and all. This is the blueprint. Something like this is a blueprint. Now every house follows this blueprint. Okay, so in the house that you live, in the house that I am living, all of them has these things. Like we do not have a doorless house. Okay, so these are some of the, this is a skeleton, or this is a blueprint of for many houses. Okay, in the same way, there's a class which is a blueprint, and there are many objects which associate itself with the class. Like with this, all those here in the previous slide we saw the example of a car. Okay, every car has a like associate, like every car, suppose like Ferrari and all, this is also a car, so this belongs to a class called car. Okay, I hope you understood this. Now what is an object? Object is an instance of class. Okay, suppose we have created a car. Okay, like there's a class called car, and this car class has some of the things like four wheels, a color and all. And and now we are calling about, like talking about a specific car which is a BMW, which is also a car. So this BMW belongs to a class called car. I hope you understood this. But each of them, like every BMW has four wheels, like BMW also has four wheels, a color and all. But each, but yeah, but it differs from Audi and Tesla. But all of these belongs to a same class called car. Okay, each of them has some similarities, but they also differ. So each object has its own data, but they like all in all has some same class, which is car. Okay, so how do we create a class? We use a keyword for class, then we write the name of the class that we want to give it, and then we write colon. Here pass keyword is used because we are just for sample we are creating this like class. Okay, so now let us create our own class. Okay, how do we create a class? Just do this, write class class, then write name of the class that you want to give it. Want that you want Write the name. Okay, so right now I'm giving it a name called student. Suppose I'm giving it student name. Okay, so this is our class that we have created. Now let us just do one thing. I'm currently giving it pass. Why? Because I just want to demonstrate it to you. I'm not creating really a class, like I'm not using it anything. I'm not giving any attribute to it currently. I'm just creating a car. Okay, so now when I have to create an object, how do I create an object? I just do this. As you can see here, I'll write the name of the object as it is as written here. Suppose the name of the object is student1. Student1. Okay, so student1 is the name of the object. Okay, then how do I create a class? I will write the name of the class student and add a parenthesis. So this is now an object. Okay, this is an object and this is a class. Okay, so now let's suppose if I do this, suppose I have given it name. I want to give this class a name. So how do I do this? I write def, then I write init. Okay, this is a constructor, okay, that we have to use everywhere. Then I will write self. Why I'm writing self? Because self I'm writing because I have to tell the computer, like every class, a class has several objects. Okay, so now how does the our computer understand? How will our computer understand that I'm talking about this specific object currently? Because there's student1, I can create another object which is called student2. How will our computer understand that right now I want to extract the name of the current object, like this object? Okay, so we will be this problem is solved by this thing which is called self. Okay, so now it tells the computer that right now we are talking about this. Okay, right now we are talking about this object. Okay, and name, and suppose I am writing one more thing, age. Okay, these two things I have written. Now I want to add its name. Okay, how do I add name? So for that, what I'm going to do is I will write self, because I am right now pointing at this object. Okay, self dot suppose name equals to name, suppose, and self dot age equals to age. This is how we do this. Now when I create an object, I will have to pass on some of the name to it. Suppose I'm right now giving it name as Rohit and age as 22. So this is how we create an object. Now let us move on, like object memory. So class creates an object, and so class, when first we create a class, then with the help of class we create several objects, and each object gets its separate memory. So every object has its separate memory. Okay, I hope you understood this. So now comes one more thing, which is called attributes. Every we give every class an attribute mostly. How do we do that? Let me show it to you. Every we are creating, giving like attributes to every object right now. Just like here, I have given these two things. These are the attributes of this class. Every class has a name. This student class has a name and age. So every object that we will be creating will have a name and an object. Okay. So let us just do one thing. Print. What I'm going to do. Sorry. Student one dot name. I want to print the name of this student object. So that's how I am going to do. I will write print, then I will write the name of the student like object, then I'll write name. Okay, so now if I run this, I'm going to get an output which is Rohit. Why? Because this is an attribute, like this is this name is this student, and one has a name which is Rohit. And how does our computer understand? With the help of this self. Okay, so this is talking, this self is telling it that right now I am going to extract the name of this class, this object. Suppose if I create another object which is called student 2. Okay, so student 2, I'll write this and give it a name. Suppose it is Preeti. Okay, this is the name. Okay, and age is 20. Suppose this. Now, if I have to print the age of Preeti, what I am going to do is print student 2. Why? Because this is the name of this object. Dot age. So now, if I do this, 20 is getting printed. Okay, why Rohit is also printing? Because I am using this. If I just comment it out, only 20 will be printed. Sorry, now if I run this, only 20 will be printed. Okay, as you can see. So that's how we do it. Okay, uh, so this student is an umbrella term. So every student like this Preeti, Rohit, both of them belongs to class called student. These two are object, like these two things are objects. Student one and student two are objects, but they belong to the same class, which is student. They both of them has a name and age, but both of them has separate memory, and both of them has a separate attribute, which is student one's name is Rohit and student two name is Preeti. So both of them are like, both of them belong to the same class, but both of them have different qualities. Okay, sorry, different qualities. Okay, so this is what it means to be from the same class, and that's how we create an objects and add attributes to it. Okay, so now moving on to the next slide, which is methods. Okay, so how do we add methods? So every class will have, like every class, like not every class, we can add some methods to the class. Means that it will do some specific task when we add some method. Okay, so how do we do that? Uh, suppose I'm creating a method. Since it belongs to student class, def okay, let us just give it a name. Suppose I'm giving it a name as name of the as a method as study. Okay, okay, study. Then I write self colon and enter. Then I'll just print I study hard. Okay, so this is I am printing right now. So when how do I call this? I'll just do this student 2 dot study, then add parenthesis. We do not have to give it any attribute right now. And as you can see, I study hard is getting printed. Now if I do this, I am adding name to it, and just do one thing. I'll just do one thing. Use formatted string. Okay, and doing this. Uh, Let us just run this code. Okay, so as you can see right now here, I have created a method which is study. Okay, so every student studies. So now I want it to print something. I am printing, if I call this object, like use this object, I wanted to print Rohit study hard. Rohit, Rohit studies hard. Okay, and if I want to call this one, like this object, I wanted to print Preeti studies hard. So how do I do that? Right now I am using like student2 dot study. So if I wanted to print something, how do I do that? I'm just calling this function, like, sorry, method. How do, like, a function defined inside a class is called a method. Okay, nothing different. It's just a function that I have defined inside a class. Okay, so this, when I define a function inside a class, it will be called as method. Okay, so how do I call this function or method in this case? I'll just write the name of the object, student2, then I'll write dot, then I'll write study. Okay, so this is the name of the function. Okay, first I'll write name of the object, then I'll write dot, then I'll write name of the function, or sorry, method. Okay, so now when I run this, I'll get output as Preeti studies hard. Why? Because I'm calling this method for this object. Okay, now if I just change it to 1, I'll get Rohit studied hard. Why? Because I'm using self here. As you can see, I'm using self. Okay. So every time I call this function, sorry, method, it will only be executed for the class, sorry, object which for which it has been called. So right now I'm calling it for this object, the first one, student one. Okay. So it is taking its like the name of this so I'm getting print, so name of this object is printed. Okay, now when I change this to student2, the name of the second object is printed. So I hope you understood this. So self is used to tell the computer that right now it is being this object, sorry, this object is being considered. Okay, so you have to print everything, you have to do everything in the context of this object. Okay, so when you, and one more thing you have to keep in mind is that if you add like attributes to it, when I have done this, then you, when you create an object, you will have to give the attribute. When I do this, I'll have to do this. But if I do not add the two attributes that I have given, like name and age, the second parameter I have to add, if I do not do this, I'll get an error. So both of these things should be mentioned here. Okay, I hope you understood this. Now, although this is a little complex like topic, so I want you to like watch it patiently. If you do not understand it at one go, you can watch it like again. Okay, and you can solve a lot of questions on this topic, so that you get confident in this as well. Okay, so this is a little complex, I understand. It takes time for you to understand, like it will take some time for you to understand all of these things. Okay, but I hope like if you watch it like more carefully and listen to it more patiently and solve the questions that I will provide you, you will be able to understand it in very easy manner. Okay, let us move on to the next slide, which is about calling function. We already have seen this. How do we call a function? We will just write name of the object, which is student, then we will write dot, then we will write greet. Okay, so that's how we call a function. Okay, now let us move on to the next slide, which is what is self. So self is a keyword that refers to a current object. When we were talking about student one, it was referring to this, sorry, when we were talking about this when we talk about this student one, this self tells the computer that this object is being considered. Okay, so when we talk about this, when we call this anything of this thing, then the computer tells is understood that the I am referring to the age of this object. Okay, student2 dot age, it means that self is used to tell this that right now age of this is being referred to. Okay, I hope you understood it. It allows an object to access its own attributes and methods. So when we access the like attributes and methods of the class on with the help of this self keyword, we are able to access the specific thing that we want to. Otherwise, we won't be able to access the like this, because the computer will be will get confused that which name or age is being talked about right now, because every object belongs to a class, and every class will have a name or age. So when we talk about and sorry, every object has a name and age. So which name or age is being considered referred to is determined by this like self keyword. Okay, now let us move on to the next slide, which is without self. Python does not know which object is calling the method. So when we do not use self, Python will not understand that which object is calling the method. So when we created two objects, sorry, we created two objects, and every object has a name and age. But when we do not use self, Python won't understand that which object is being called right now. Okay, so for solving this problem, we use self. Okay, so each object uses its own data through self. So since every object has its own data, so that data is accessed with the help of this self. Okay, I hope you understood this as well. Now comes the constructor things, right? So constructor initializes an object automatically when it is created. Okay, so when we create an object, it is initialized by this constructor, which is init. Okay, so Python uses this special method called init to initialize an object. Okay, so construct example here, we already have used it, like which is class student. Then we have written def init self. Okay, so this is a method that the Python uses to create, like to initialize an object whenever it is created. Okay, uh, now let us move on to the next slide, which is constructed with parameters. When we add some qualities to a student like class, we add this through this constructor, which is name. Right now we are adding name and age to it. So that's how we add some parameters to a class. Okay, so let us now move on to the next slide, which is multiple objects. So a class can have multiple objects. As you can see here, there are student1, student2, student3. In the same way, we can create more objects. Right now, we have already created two objects. Let us just create some more objects. Okay. Suppose it is student 3. Student 3. Okay. His name is, suppose his name is Junaid. Okay, his name is Junaid, and his age is suppose 18. So this is the third object. Okay, so I hope you understood this. This is a first object, this is second object, this is a third object. Let us just do one thing. Print type, sorry, type of what? Student 3. Suppose I want to print the type of student 3, which class? So I'm going to get a class which is student. So this student 3 belongs to a class called student. Okay, so this belongs to a class called student. This student 3 belongs to a class called student. Now suppose I change it to 1, I'll get what I'm going to get is it student 1 belongs to a class called student. So that's how we use, like we can check what is the class that this object belongs to. So this student 3 belongs to a student class. Okay, so I hope this is like you are able to understand this. this is little complex and I can understand. Even I faced a lot of difficulties when I first learned oops. But do not worry, the more you will practice you will get comfortable in it as well. So please try to watch this video until the end. I will be sharing a lot more questions on this, so you will be able to understand everything. Okay, let us move on to the next slide, which is instance variable. So variables are created using self dot name. So every time we use self, as you can see here, we are creating some variable inside this uh, here. So how we are creating, we use self dot name. So okay, so every time you create a variable like instance says, you have to write this self. Okay, so that's how you create a variable inside a class. So, and these variables are called instance variable, and every object has its own copy. So when we create a class, it is like a skeleton, and when we create objects to it of this class, the every object will have its own copy of it. So when we define these things, every object must have these two. Okay, so when we have make a blueprint of a house, and we every and like every house must have a door to it. Okay, so without a door no house can exist. Okay, so this is what means it means by blueprint of something. Okay, moving on, this is a mini project that you can make student information system. Okay, so this is what you can do. This is student information system. You can store name, age, course and marks. Okay, so create a class called student, and in that class you can store his name, age, marks and student, and complete, and you can use like a method to display its complete details. So let us just create this mini project. Okay, so first what we are going to do is create a class called student records. Okay, we have created a class. Now in this class we are defining, we're using a constructor in it. Okay, and giving, we'll give it some parameters, which is name, age, course and marks. Okay, so this will have name, sorry, comma, age, course, marks. Okay, now we will be creating some instance variable, which is self dot name equals to name, sorry, self dot self dot name, self dot age, then self dot course and marks. Okay, one more thing I would like to tell you is that when you write something here, these are some of the attributes. So you will have to write the same thing this side, right side. Okay, since I have written name, the first letter of the name is kept in capital, I'll have to here, so I'll have to write the same thing here. But you can change anything here. Suppose if I just write course in this like in place of mark, I just write M. So, self dot course, instead of I'll just write C. So this is completely valid. Okay, it won't throw you an error. So now we have to create a method to print all of these things. Def how display, let us just name it as display. It is a function that we are defining inside this class. Okay, so this is a display, and inside this we are going to write self comma sorry, and self, and what is it going to do is it will print something. What is it going to print? Print name, sorry, self dot name, self dot age, uh, self dot c, because we have named it here as c, then self dot m. So this is thing that it has to print. Okay, so as you can see here, since I have named it as self dot c and self dot m, you will have to write it as it is here when we create a method. Okay, if you do not write this, you will get an error. So now just create, like we are going to create an object. Okay, and object, so name of the object, suppose name of the object is student one. What we are going to do is student record name of the class, and inside this we are going to write his name, which can be like, suppose his name is uh, his name can be Saurav. Okay, Saurav is his name. Age is like, suppose 23. uh, Course is, suppose he is first course is Python, and marks, suppose he scored 90 marks out of 100. Okay, so now if I want to display these things, how do I display? I'll just call this function, sorry, method, sorry, student one dot display. When I call this, I will printing this. Okay, let us just see. As you can see, what is being printed? First name has been printed. Why? Because in the same way, like in this manner, in this order, it will print. First it will print name, it is printing Sora. Then it will print age, it is printing 23. It will print course, it is printing Python, which is true, and it is printing marks, which is 90. Okay, so all of these things are valid. So that's how uh, you create a class. Like then if you have to uh, display its detail, we use a method. Okay, that's how we did it. So this is a, like, this is your mini project that you can make, and it will be very interesting for you to make all of these things, because it is going to be very important for you to learn about all of these things. Because without this, like without making mini projects, you won't be able to get more confident into it. So, and this, in the previous lecture, I was not solving a lot of mini projects, but in this, I'm making it these mini projects with you, because it is like, it is a complex topic. It is a tough topic for like for anyone. So I will be with you in this topic as well. So in this topic, so I will be solving these questions with you. Okay. So now let us move on to the next slide, which is called practice question. So we are going to do is like create a class called car. We have to create several classes. This is called car, employee, mobile, book, bank account, and laptop. Let us just do one thing. Uh, let us just do one thing. Sorry. Let us create some of the classes. Okay. First, let us create a class called car. Okay. So inside this car class, what it is going to store is, sorry, it will store name, color. Okay, these two things are it is going to store. Self dot n, sorry, n equals to name, and self dot c equals to color. We will be displaying all these things with the help of a method called display. With the help of this, we'll be displaying this. Now let us just create an object for it. Suppose the object is car1. Okay, it belongs to this class, so we will be writing this. Then suppose its name is, sorry, the C is capital. Its name is BMW, and color is black. Okay, now if I have to just let me just, sorry, let's just run this code. Okay, we have created, and we have created a class which is called car, and it has two attributes, like two parameters, which is name and age. So every car has a name and a color. So when we create an object which is called car1, it will must have these two things, which is called name and which is called name and color. Okay, so moving on, now we will call the function that we have defined, which is, and the function is display. So how am I going to do this? I'll just write car1 dot display. I'm going to write nothing. Now if I just run this, every detail will be printed, which is name is BMW and color is black. As you can see, it is getting printed without any issue. Okay, I hope you understood all of these things. So now we will be doing another question. Now let us solve the second question. Okay, the second question is creating a class called employee. Okay, so let us just create a class called employee. How do we create a class? Just write class, then employee. Inside this employee, we will be giving it something called name. Every employee has a name and salary. Okay, okay. These two things must. Okay, so we will be doing this now. Self dot creating, we are creating instance variable, where self dot n equals to name, and self dot s equals to salary. Okay, now we are doing this def display self uh, print self dot n comma self dot s. Object we are creating employee one. We are doing this m1 employee, giving it name as Raghav. Okay, and age as, sorry, salary at like 50,000. Okay, so now if I call the like this method here, emp1 dot display, add a parenthesis. Now if I run the code, the output is name and salary. These two things are getting printed. Okay, I hope you understood all of this thing. This is very interesting. I hope you are getting all of this. First we created an object called employee, then inside an object we give it some like attributes, which are name and salary, and then self dot n equals to name and self dot n is equal to salary. These two things that we have given it. Okay, so I hope you understood all of these things. Now moving on to the next question, which is like moving on to the next slide first. Now let us discuss some of the common mistakes that you can make. Okay, so first common mistake is forgetting self. So if you do not write self, you will get error 100%. Okay, so because self helps the Python to understand that the current object, like attributes of the current object, are referred currently, so you will have to use self. Okay, so just create, and when you create an object, you will have to create, sorry, class, you will have to create objects as well. Okay, so when you, and you can also get error by writing incorrect indentation. So indentation should be perfect always. Okay, so you cannot just miss the indentation. Then calling the method incorrectly. So if you call the method incorrectly, you will then also get error. Okay, so these things, these are the things that you will have to keep in mind, that you cannot do all of these things. If you do this, you will get errors. Okay, so now this is the homework, which is you will have to create this class, which is called animal class. In this class, you will have to give it attributes, name, color, method, and all. So if you uh, you will have to create this. Just do one thing, please try to solve this homework question, because it will help you build your foundation as well. This is a very complex topic, I can understand, but if you do this, you will be able to understand all of this. So summary of the chapter. So today we learned about oops. So in this lecture we learned about oops, we learned about classes. So how do we create classes? What are the uses of classes? We learned about objects, like object, every class, like every object will have has a class. And how do we create object? We learned about use of self. Why do we use self? We also learned about constructor, learned about attributes and methods, and also instance variable. Okay. So in this, so this was the part one. Okay. In the next part two of the OOP, we'll be learning about variables, class variable. We'll also learn about instance variable, then static method, class method, encapsulation and inheritance. These two things will be these things will be discussed in the next lecture. So let me just tell you one more thing, that I have tried to I have given you a lot of questions before, so I would like you to solve all of these things. And also this mini project I have already solved. Then these are some of the practice questions that you have to solve. So let us just now solve all this practice question. Okay, so we already have done these two questions. Now let us move on to the third, which is creating a class called mobile. Okay, so we will be creating a class called mobile. In this class, sorry, in this class, mobile class, we will be doing one thing, that we're writing this constructor in it. Then let us just give it some name and price. Self dot, sorry, self dot n equals to name, self dot p equals to price. Okay, so now we will be creating a method to display this. Just write self every time you have to create a method. Just write self, so that the Python understands that this method of this object is being called. Okay, then write we are going to print these things. So how do we print? Just write print self dot name, comma, self, sorry, self dot p and self dot n, sorry. Then just now we just need to create an object called mob equals to mobile. Just give it some names, suppose 17, sorry, give, what should I give it? Let's just create our own model, which is called Zenith. This is the name of the model. Okay, Zenith 17. Okay, this is the name of the model, and its price suppose is 20,000. Okay, now if I have to call the like method, how do we call mob dot display? Just execute this code. We are getting the output, which is Zenith 17 is the model. Okay, Zenith 17 is the model, and 20,000 is the price. Okay, I hope you understood all of these things. So we created an object called class called mobile. In the class, and this class is name and price, and then we created an object called mob, and we and its name is Zenith 17 and price is 20,000. Then we call the function or which is defined inside this class called method. So when we call this, we are getting this output. Okay, I hope you understood all of these things. So now now let me tell you one more thing. Just a minute. Okay, now next question, which is book class. So sorry, let us create one more class called book. Book. Inside this class, we will be giving its a name. Okay, and let us just give it a, let us just give name of the author. Okay, self dot name equals to name, then self dot author equals to author. So now we will create a method which is display self, sorry, write self. Then we will be printing this. So we will write name of the book is, and name of the author is self.au. Okay, these are the things. Now we will just do one more thing, which is we will create a we will create an object. Okay, so we will just write book1 equals to name of the class, which is book, parenthesis. Inside this parenthesis, we will give it name is children of time. Very good book. If you have to read, you can read it. Okay, name of the author is Adrian Tchaikovsky. Okay, this is a very good book. If you have to read, if you want to read, you can read this. It is a sci-fi. Okay, so this is the name of the class. Okay, which we have created. Now if I want to print the details of this class, sorry, object, so how do I create? Just what do I do? Just write book one dot display. Now execute this code. We are getting name of the book is Children of Time and name of the author is Adrian Tchaikovsky. So this is how we do it. Okay, so now let us move on to the last two questions, which is bank account and laptop. Let us just solve these two as well. Name of the class is laptop. We will be using the constructor. Name of the laptop is brand and price. Self dot brand equals to brand and self dot price equals to price. Just create a method called display. We are using self, then we are printing what we are printing, name of the laptop, which is, sorry, name of the brand is brand. Okay, and price is self dot price. Now we will be creating an object called LP1. Okay, so write the name of the class, which is laptop. Then we'll give it a name called, suppose name of the brand is Lenovo. Lenovo is the name and price is like 70,000, suppose. Now if I want to display these things, what I'm going to do is I will be printing, sorry, I will be calling this method which is display for this object which is LP1. How do I do that? That LP1 dot uh, display, and always add parenthesis whenever you call the method. As you can see, the output, which is name of the brand is Lenovo and the price is 70,000. It is getting printed very easily. I hope you understood all of these things. These are very interesting things, but you will have to learn about all of these things. Okay, it is little complex, but I have solved a lot of questions now, because now I think that you will be confident as well. So this is it. This was the lecture. Okay, we already have discussed these slides before, just summary and all. So let me just give you one more time the summary of the lecture, which is today's lecture was dedicated to OOPS. Okay, this was part one. In this lecture, we learned about classes. So what are the classes? Classes are nothing but like blueprint of creating an object. So first we create a class. Suppose there's a skeleton of something. Like we are all human being. Every human being has a skeleton. So this is, suppose this is, you can consider it to be as a class. And inside every human being has a two hands and all. And when we use this skeleton, everybody has a skeleton, but me and you are two different people, like two different things. So we belong to the same class called student, but we two are different objects. Okay, so that's how this is what object is. Object is an instance of a class. Okay, then we learned about self. What is self? Self is a keyword that is used to tell Python that that right now we are talking about the attributes of the current or this object. Okay, then we learned about constructor. Whenever we create an object, like it is initialized by this. Okay, so then we talked about attributes, the qualities of the objects. Okay, then we learned about methods. The function that we define inside a class are called methods. Okay, always keep this in mind. The methods are nothing, just a function that we have defined inside a class. Okay, so it is used to control the behavior of the class. Okay, then we learned about instance variable, like when we create the variables that we create inside, like inside the init, these are called instance variable. Okay, so I hope this lecture was good. I know this is a complex topic, it is a tough topic, but I hope that the question that I have solved today, the mini project that I have solved today, has helped you a lot. Okay, now Thank you for watching this lecture until the end. Thank you. Thank you for goodbye. Let us meet in the next lecture. Okay.